back to the Irish NFL Show's Radio Row coverage, brought to you in association with Dunes and Drams. Discover Ireland beyond the game. Jourdan Rodrigue, welcome. We meet you in actual real life. You've been a friend of the show. Are we allowed to call you friend of the show? Hashtag friend of the show. Jourdan Rodrigue, of course, senior writer with The Athletic and co-host of NFL Daily. And we're all big listeners of NFL Daily. And myself and Kieran O'Donovan here can testify, without wishing to blow smoke here, you are probably the most cited source for information and analysis on our show. Well, I heard Jourdan Rodrigue say is a very regular phrase, a phrase in very common usage on the Irish NFL Show. So it's great to see you in real life. How's your Radio Row experience been?
Oh, I mean, it's great now. I'm sitting here with you guys. No, it's been fun. Like, this is chaos, right? It's crazy. And I think the first time you walk into Radio Row, you're just wildly overstimulated. It's just like so much going on. And then you start seeing people and start seeing people you really are so excited to see. Like, I never get a chance to see you guys in person.
Oh,
we're an email friendship and a Zoom friendship, but I'm a listener and I'm a fan of the show. And I mean, like, you're asking about my dog when I walk up. Like, this is a joy for me. So I'm really happy to be there with you guys.
Oh, likewise. I mean, we're absolutely. I think that's a perfect analogy. We're 9-year-olds at the birthday party.
Yeah.
Oh, he's overstimulated. God bless him. I'm only waiting for somebody to tuck a blanket over me. Maybe just get your head down for a couple of hours.
I need
that's enough Jerry Rice for you. Go back to bed.
Sort of soft little cloth to hold, and like just so I can sit here and calm down a little bit. Yeah.
I'm going to double down on what Conor said about citing on a weekly basis. We all now claim that we know a hell of a lot about 11.5 personnel and 12 personnel and now 13 personnel. And I'm going to start off as well by quoting you again. I was listening to you a couple of weeks ago before the NFC Championship game, and you said that was the Super Bowl. Have you, and I suppose given what unfolded, you could be, it's hard to argue against that. I mean, it was an unbelievable game. Have you come around a little bit? Are you excited for this one, or?
It's football, man. I'm excited. Yeah. But really, I mean, I feel like I'm on a little bit of a victory lap because it was true. That was the Super Bowl.
It was unbelievable.
But no, this is going to be so fun because these teams are so interesting the way that they're built. Seattle and the turnaround they've made over 2 years under Mike Macdonald, and the Patriots going from the ceiling to the basement to the ceiling again so quickly in that regime change and how
too quickly, Jourdan, too quickly. It's just not fair.
I was going to say, and it's interesting to me because both of these teams, there's such a will to build in a really interesting, cool way, coming off of a tenure of a previous head coach who should be and will be, both of them, Hall of Famers, and who were larger than life personalities. And I think personally, we're kind of in the age of the coach as a brand, right? Like, we know about more coaches than ever. We know about what they're like. We know about how they call it. We know about their strengths, their weaknesses, and they're out there in the public eye. Well, Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick were doing it first, and so for these two guys and Mike Macdonald and Mike Vrabel to come in and infuse their own identities into these organizations in such a cool, authentic way and in a different way is so special to me. So I'm fired up for this one.
I've been leaning heavily into give me Vrabel, McDaniels and Kerr with 2 weeks to prepare, and I'm excited to see what the Patriots deploy. I've kind of come to the point in the week where I'm done with telling me why the Seahawks are going to win and explain to me how it is that the Patriots are going to counteract that, because if there's a group of coaches that I trust to do it, they're the ones sitting on that sideline.
I love that framing too, right? Because that's exactly the way that A, the Patriots are thinking, and B, that's what the Seahawks are worrying about right now too. Mike Vrabel is the best coach in the NFL at the margins, at finding the little advantages that will kill you over time. And if he can start chopping away at those margins right when the game starts and continue, and it's situational management, it's special teams, it's playing really sound defense, it's making sure that the floor of the offense is not too low no matter what the pass protection or the run game looks like. It's obviously Drake May, but it's Mike Vrabel with this real awareness of how the strategy of football works. It's something Mike Macdonald is getting better at. We've seen his go calls and his situational stuff really improve over the second half of the season. Vrabel's the king of it. So it's almost like a slow wave playing this Patriots team.
It might be telling, actually, because Mike Macdonald yesterday at his press conference referenced having too much time to prepare. Maybe he was talking about Vrabel as opposed to himself.
Dang it. He's like,
Talk about special teams, because in the wake of the NFC Championship game, you wrote in The Athletic about special teams being the downfall for the Rams. I'm a Packers fan, and I've been giving out about special teams for a long time because I said a while ago, at best, we're underwhelming.
As a Bears fan, I love
At worst, it's absolutely horrendous. the Rams had their troubles as well and have had their troubles over the last couple of seasons. But we're now looking at two teams that are probably two of the best special teams units,
Yes.
and two of the most situationally prepared teams.
Yes.
You've got the battle of Raheed Shaheed, Marcus Jones on the other side, two probably good outside bets for MVP at the weekend. What is it about the difference between a good special teams unit and a bad special teams unit? Is it just coaching, or is it a cultural thing within a team that, is it about giving it its dues and giving it enough time and giving it enough respect?
It's a great question. I could talk about this for 4 hours, actually. No, so first of all, the point that you make about these two teams being at their strength in this particular margin and phase of football, spot on, because I love this era we're entering in where we're going to start to see it based especially on this coaching cycle, retread coaches and defensive coaches. Defensive coaches who are good at coaching use their special teams as offense. And that's a way that they can get involved in quote unquote the offense or having a say in the offense while they coach only on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what Mike McDonald does. And that's what Mike Vrabel does. They do it better than we've seen in a long time, creating offense out of special teams, whether it's by field position or the field goal unit is one thing, but the return game. And so what that takes is not just a real identity there. You need to really be good at hiring an assistant. There is a clear vision of how that phase is going to work and how it's executable, because a lot of guys can talk a big game on special teams, but actually explaining how you're going to make it happen is very important. And then also your team, your general manager has to invest in that. The bottom 12 to 15 positions of a roster are constantly churning through the course of a season, whether through injuries or the practice squad. You cannot use all of those guys in one phase through the duration of a practice because a lot of them are on scout team. You have to set aside specific times in practice and also as a part of your roster construction to invest in like the vet minimum guy who's going to be on your team for 6 years to 8 years to 12 years, as we've seen. You have to have a core four. Basically, you could play off within the phase of special teams, offense, defense, on special teams in any of the protection or attack units, right? And you have to be able to have those specialists who are acting as if they are all one human being, just like in a large trench coat, right? Like you have to have that type of dynamic.
Any chance you could give Matt LaFleur a call and just explain all that to him again?
Hey, Matt, just not to sound condescending or anything, but Gutekunst is adamant that they invest in it.
Yeah.
Really happy with where they are.
Yeah, good for you guys.
In no way an ass covering comment.
Yeah,
in no way
Rams
an ass
too. Nothing to see here. Yeah.
At least they fired a coach mid-season. It looked like they were trying to do something about it anyway.
But on that point, and you're playing into my favorite current amateur psychologist theory, right? And it's been fascinating to watch in this coaching carousel as well, because GMs and owners are creatures of recency bias and that narrative fallacy, right? They're like, oh, it's all about the offensive mind. We want the new Ben Johnson. Now we want the new Mike Vrabel. And that seems to be the dominant theme in this year's carousel. But one thing I'm fascinated in your insight into this. My working theory is that offensive-minded head coaches philosophically view the game in a completely different way. They view it from a proactive, I can influence the outcome of the game solely by the way I deploy my chess pieces, and everything else then revolves around that. Whereas defensive-minded head coaches see risk and return and risk and reward in a very different way.
Yes.
And to your point in Vrabel, they know how to aggregate the marginal gains because it all adds up to championships.
I like the way that you have put that. I wish I could transfer like half of my last column and put what you just said in it instead as the entire top of the column. Honestly, though, it's true. And it's why you get knocked as a defensive coach for being like a conservative caller and it's interesting because when you're an offensive head coach, you often hire a defensive coach who is going to complement your offense. So the defensive structure and the rules, quote unquote, of that defense will very much play into complement of what the offense wants to do. But I think we've seen over these last few years, especially, that the best teams in football have a clear identity in both phases. And yes, those phases work together, but they're both attacking in a way. And I think one of the coaches who's the best at it is Kyle Shanahan, because his defense is always going to play the same type of suffocation football that his offense plays. And it doesn't mean one is less assertive or attacking or dictating than the other. It just means that is the shared identity established within the entire culture. And he's good at finding people who can complement that culture, less so complement the offense.
I'm fascinated also with the way that thinking informs how the Seahawks offense played and how Mike McDonald clearly influences the way that offense played. We had a great discussion yesterday with Lindsay Rose, who was breaking this down and really going into the detail with us. Yeah, fantastic. From Sumer Sports. And she talked about how if you look at the data in one way, you can fool yourself into thinking that the Seahawks offense isn't terribly efficient. But they do all of this investment in waiting for you to show them the right look, and then they absolutely kill you.
Absolutely. And one of the cool things, and the Texans, when the Texans are competent on offense, do this well too. Haven't been competent a lot on offense this past season. But the Seahawks are really, really good at setting their offense up into their A-plus defense plan. Meaning they'll take a shot early. They'll try to accumulate a couple of explosive plays, especially in the pass game, off of that play action early in the game, and try to flip the field to either go up 3 or 7 points. Well, when you are in a lead, as you guys know very well, then your pass rush, your coverage, the personnel you deploy on defense can stay in its A-plus attack plan. It's never reacting because it is already on the attack because the offense has set it up to be so. And I think looking at it that way, like I said, is collaboration. It's still the defense dictating what it would like the offense to do for it. But it's in a way that's more collaborative. It's not the defense saying, okay, we're going to sit back in like a deep zone and try to kill clock. No, it's, hey, we need you to be aggressive so that we can be aggressive, which I think is the difference in the Seattle team.
To Conor's point, in terms of being reactive or in terms of waiting for the right look, do you think that's very much what happened to the Seahawks in the latter part of the regular season, when that level of explosivity and those explosive plays, we just kind of lost them for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, NFC Championship game, we saw it in all its glory again. Yeah,
and I think they pivoted a little to commit even more so to the run game too. And so you're going to get obviously less explosives unless you're like an absolutely special rushing team. I read that they added, I was looking at another article on heavy personnel, 12 personnel versus jumbo personnel, an extra lineman, a nose tackle even, in just stuffing that kind of box. It's one of those things where they were like, okay, we know this part of our offense works. We really need to bring up this part of this offense because we are going to be playing deep into the season. So to me, there was a lot of problem solving that came from that. Less so maybe even opponents or anything like that. It was a lot of like, hey, we need to make sure this phase is clicking for us by the time we do get to January. And to me, that's my theory a little bit about what the shift was. And then also defenses are going to play JSN differently. I think everybody has been waiting for Rashid Shaheed to emerge more as a 2 in this offense. And we've seen Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak have wanted to maybe go toward the tight end a little bit more. But that's not really where your explosives can come from, again, to set your defense up into its A-plus plan. So it's like, all right, so we know that's going to ask a lot of our team, and we know that phase is established. So we really need to figure out how to attack teams running the ball. And they were at a really great leading clip. Obviously, Charbonnet losing him hurts, but where I think against the Patriots, this is going to be kind of exciting. The Patriots are so strong in the middle of their defensive line. Ken Walker is one of the most creative outside runners. He hits the perimeter like an artist, just painting on a canvas. He'll hold the ball and he'll sit back and he'll wait for his exact crease to open, and then he'll hit the perimeter like you won't believe. Also,
there was an incredible play in the NFC Championship game as well, where he showed a fleet of foot and agility on receiving the ball. He kind of jinked left, jinked right.
Yes.
And then when there was nothing on, he went straight down the middle and took 2 or 3 players with him. So he changed from one of those light-footed backs to just an absolute power back in an instant.
And it's so fun because he's patient. That's patience, right? And that's creativity. And that's where within the layers of what the Seahawks are, which is a defensive team, but there's so much creativity and all of this little nuances, which is why they've been so fun to watch, in my opinion, this year. And I think they're showing, and they've showed, even when the explosives have dialed back, and they're 14th in success rate or something to end the season and then the postseason. But when you are demonstrating that you have that kind of multiplicity in your attack and your defense is that good, it's okay if you're sort of statistically in the middle like that, because you're now playing matchup football. You're designing bespoke plans to specifically attack your opponent, and you're showing enough to your opponent week over week to where they're not quite sure how you are going to attack them. And I think that's been a part of the strategy here.
I love that Walker point, because he has that. He's like a good chili, right? The The longer he's left in there, the deeper the flavor gets. He's like one of those volume backs, like Derek
Just
Henry.
write my columns for me, okay? God, fine. You're hired, fine.
But Charbonnet's injury, not that the Seahawks would ever have wanted it, has added more volume, added more carries, and we're seeing so much more from Walker than I even thought he was capable of.
Yeah, and you have to, right? And it's good that there was a load share too, because now you're able to kind of ask more of him and demand more of him. And the rest week helps, obviously. I think everyone would say that. But I especially like that he showed, to your point, Kieran, like how different he can be. Yeah. Like if you think he's going to really hurt you on the perimeter and you stretch your defensive front wider to help mitigate that, he showed that he wants contact, that he can take that contact. He's so gifted. I think it's why he's one of the favorites to be Super Bowl MVP out of this weekend. And I think there's a real good shot for that.
Craig is giving us our signal. Can we just go tell Greg?
A good producer.
Can we just tell Greg Rosenthal we'll keep you for another half an hour? Is that okay?
I'm on the Irish show now, the Irish NFL show now. Sorry, Greg, to tell you. Yeah.
Just before we let you go, I have to ask about Cooper Kupp, because you've given us so much insight into him, and we talked about 11.5 personnel and his mini tight end role. He's got I was out at the facility. I got to talk to him yesterday as well, which is great. He's got this budding bromance with Sam Darnold. I know he's great buddies with Matt Stafford, but they race each other into the facility. He's still setting the standards in terms of showing how to have the right mental attitude. He knows he's not number one, not even number two. You talked about Raheed Shaheed, but you also wrote about that crucial touchdown drive as well last week. 65-yard drive, early catch, really key block as well. Screen pass, finished it off with a 13-yard a touchdown catch. Like, what an incredible piece that John Schneider was able to find, and how much of a pivotal factor has he been in taking the Seahawks on this run?
Well, I think it's a good decision by Cooper too. He picked the right team to go to. He had a little bit of a bidding war by the time all was said and done. A couple of teams were interested in him, and he chose correctly because he saw the potential, and I think he saw how smartly built and smartly schemed this team was going to be, and it's true. I got to say that drive, I'm up at the press box and the fans are going insane, and it was vintage, and it really brought me back in a very profound way, because that was something that Cooper Kupp ascended, all of those little things that he did on that drive.
Super Bowl.
It was exactly it. And so for me, it's like he is the type of player who will be such a resource to an offense, regardless of what the production is, because of how he understands all the pieces connect together, because of his importance in the run game and in the pass game. He understands how the marriage of the run and the pass, as these coaches often like to say, half of them don't even understand what they're saying or what they want it to look like. Well, Cooper does, because he was the linchpin in making those things combine together in a way that could disguise pre-snap as well. So it's been so valuable and really cool, and I think probably very cathartic for him to be on this journey, because you're one place your entire adult life, and all of a sudden you're somewhere else. But you're contributing, and you're a factor, and you're making a game-changing couple of plays as well when it matters the most. He's an X factor in this game for this reason. I do know Mike Vrabel, who has had his eye on him for years, and the Patriots absolutely know that and we're quite worried about what he could possibly do running past them.
We shall see whether there's a Super Cup to go with the Super Bowl. But before we wrap, Jourdan, before we let you go back to NFL Daily, we have a little presentation to make, because you did ask about our show swag. So we have a jersey just for you. You have your choice of the home or away jersey.
Yeah, green or white.
Wait, I'm going to differ. What do you guys think? What's the better one?
I prefer the white.
I prefer the green.
You got the analytics, guys. What are they? Statistically speaking, what is that?
It's a matter of preference.
Oh my God.
White's for the snow game. We saw that.
We do have to apologize for the size. It's probably going to be absolutely massive, because we had to account for giving one to possibly an offensive lineman or something like that.
Well, so I fit right in. Yeah. I would, in another life, I would play offensive line. But yeah, I would love the green one. I would love that. That is so nice, you guys. Oh my God.
You got to wear it now and give us a shout out as well on the show at some point.
I'm just going to walk into NFL Daily wearing this one day and see if Greg is like, where is that from? I kind of wanted one of those. Like, I've got to make Greg jealous on this one.
We've got to get a doggy size one for Tucker as well. That's the next thing. We've got some dog swag.
He'll get the white one.
That's for Radio Row 2027. We need to get the pet merch going. Jourdan Rodrigue, thanks so much for joining us on the Irish NFL.
Thanks, Jourdan.
Thanks for having me.